Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Masculine Twin Flame read for you today. Just a little bit of clearing. Today is May 1st. Welcome to May, everybody. It was actually a good shift today. May 1st, 2020. So we have the 1 of the Magician, and the day adds up to 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So making magic with destiny in your favor. The Wheel of Fortune is reversed in the read today, but not in a negative sense. It's just because of the slowdown and everything that's been coming up reversed. I'm going to pull a card from the energy deck before we start the read. For May 1st, 2020. All right, so for everybody watching, how do we start this read out? Let's clear all negative, dark, and viral energies across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all those concerned, and fill that empty space with only beautiful divine love and diamond crystalline light. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, what is our energy for everybody watching today for the best and highest good of all those concerned? What is it we need to know? What do we need to learn or focus on in our read today? All right, we have adjacent possibilities. Number 24 is the Queen of Wands. So adjacent possibilities perhaps be creative, more physically active, using more of your authentic desires. There is a window pulled out here, so somebody might want to put new windows in. Maybe there's a mold problem in somebody's window. We have a couple more cards that want to come out too. We have Envy, which is number 20, the Judgment card. So some people may be judgmental around you. There may be some envy there. And then we also have Hostilities, all right? So there's some aggressions coming up. 26 is the Page of Wands, which can be some very young, immature type energy, kids having temper tantrums, things like that as well. Just frustrations. And then the bottom of the deck is the second chakra, Archangel Ariel. So the sacral chakra can bring up really beautiful creative energies, but as well as those frustration energies, right? It's very Wands energy. So when you don't have a creative or a physical outlet, it'll come out in frustration or in other ways like hostilities and envy. But there are adjacent possibilities here. You don't have to feed into those energies, okay? You see all the pure light here? So you might want to continue to use the white light of purification when you do your meditations or your deep breathing. Take a deep breath now. All right, so we have the Queen of Wands here. We have Judgment here, which is making a decision, but don't make it based on a 3D energy, right? Lower chakra energy. You know, pull up your energy first. And if you do, then love yourself for that part of you. That part of you needed to do that. Love yourself, all right? Love yourself in order to go through the hostilities and let go. You might want to scream or hit a pillow, which is fine. Just don't aim those hostilities at other people or other animals for that matter, or anything living, right? Just take your frustrations out. Nothing wrong with a good scream, okay? Just don't take it out on others. So that's where we're starting. I don't think we're going to end up there, but they just want you to know that those energies are out there today. And there are ways around these energies, right? So if someone's blockading your route, like if you're in a traffic jam, where do you go? Where do you go? You usually just go around that if you can, or you turn around and go the other way, and then go forward. So it may take a little longer, but who knows? Maybe you'll find a faster route that you never explored before. Or an easier route, I should say. All right, so those are the energy deck energies. And we have the SIRIAN STARSEED deck as the main deck, for those of you not familiar with my read. It is a 7-deck read. The SIRIAN STARSEED is the main deck. It's the big cards that you'll see on the table. I do always show the whole read at the end of the read. But I do channel messages through this read, so I literally journal the whole read first, and then as I go through it, repeating it back to you, I get new messages as well. So it's not just about a reading of the tarot cards, okay? So we also have the Rider-Waite Mini. We have the Trove Sexual Magic, the Romance Angels deck, the Numerology deck, the Universal Golden Tarot, as well as the Gilded Tarot. All of my information is below if you'd like a session with me, a section. a section with me. If you'd like a session with me, my website is twinflames3344.com. If you have to send me an email, it's at gmail.com. And again, I do tarot readings, but I am a Reiki Master as well. So I do healing. I don't do a whole lot of that. It takes more energy from me, so I'm very limited on the slots for that. But also, if you'd like an energy reading, a portrait that I do, where I take your favorite portrait of yourself or you as one other person. I do up to 2 people, and I'll do an energy reading, and then I incorporate that artistically onto your face. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And I do a friends challenge where we literally have sessions over a period of time. So we'd have 3 weeks of hourly sessions, plus you have an hour each week to communicate with me back and forth through email or phone call communications. So you literally have a friend to bounce energies off of back and forth. Anyway, if you have any questions about any of that, as well as my CD, which is Ashes, Twin Towers to Twin Flames, that's on iTunes, CD Baby, Google Play, and Amazon if you're interested. It's only $1. It's a great way to support my channel. And all of that information is below, as well as on my website. All right, so the read was cut and dealt at 9:36, the main deck. 9 is the Hermit, and 36 is the 10 of Wands. And then we have the end of the read, which was at 10:01. So 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, which is actually today's number, because today adds up to 10. And then the 1 is the Magician, which is also the reflection of each other, the 10 and the 1. So very balanced energy. We didn't have much in numbers come up at all today for this read. The major arcana for the Divine Masculine Twin Flames, and this is a general read, so it affects the masculine within the feminine as well. And if it doesn't resonate with you, if something doesn't resonate, don't force it to fit. We have as the major arcana the Great Wheel, which is the Wheel of Fortune, the Star, Luna, the Moon, Strength and Reflection, which is the Hermit. And before the read, Ascension came up, which is like the World card. And then after the read, Alchemy came up, which is like the Temperance card. Take another deep breath. We have 2 wands, 1 sword, and 2 cups, and 1 pentacle. So literally it was 21-21, so a very balanced energy today. The time of the read, like I said, was 10:01, and then 21-21 here. And 21 is completions, right? It's the world, coming full circle, going out into the world. And so hopefully that's a good sign for the next couple days, that us perhaps being released, or at least having some of the restrictions being loosened up. We have the King of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles coming up here in the read. The King of Wands, Shaman, and the SIRIAN STARSEED deck is very much a shaman. And the Knight of Pentacles. They're both upright, by the way. And then we had the Page of Wands before the read and the Knight of Wands after the read. The only numbers that came up today from the read were double 8s, which is the masculine and feminine, dancing side by side between their masculine and feminine and between the 3D and 5D. And the 21, 21, 88. We also have 12, which is the Hangman, and 28, which is the twins. So hanging out with the twins. And then the 89 came up in a lesser sense, and that for me is the reflection of the human body temperature. So it could express increase or decreases in temperatures. So in other words, getting too hot tempered or getting cold. So watch that with the frustrations. Obviously that came up in the energy deck before the read. So the code line today was all about personal growth, but some of the letters for personal growth were covered. This was very interesting today. So instead of personal growth, the message was coming up per GR, sonal oath. And I was getting definitely, whether that's ultrasound and getting ultrasounds for children in utero, or I was getting submarines and also, you know, political strategies as far as sonar radar and that kind of thing. And the oath to get someone back, like vengeance, was coming up, which is obviously, again, in the energies there. And that was coming up very politically, which I will get into because all of those messages came up in my read today. I'm not political at all, so anything I tell you is because I got the download straight from my codes or because I researched it online, okay? So the message here on the code line about personal growth has to do with the Master of Flames, which is that King of Wands shaman in this deck. And it was coming up as the show of power. And I right away, Southeast is coming up, but I was right away getting Southeast Batman in Turkey, because that came up the other day, which was the northern part of the Tigris River, as well as coming into the Euphrates River and the dam that they were talking about. So that show of power was coming up regarding Batman again. And Batman, of course, refers to the divine masculine in my reads a lot. So Southeast Batman is literally a town in Turkey and the Tigris River that we were just talking about this week. And it was coming up as north of the Y in the river that I spoke of before. So N and Y were coming up referring to New York. So then I was getting Yemen and New Yemen. So I put in New Yemen, which, by the way, is across from Ethiopia, which was significant as well. And there's argument for energies like Mary Magdalene actually having come from Ethiopia as opposed to more northern places. And we talk about the Black Madonna and all that kind of thing. So Ethiopia is very significant here. So I looked up online. I put in New Yemen to see if anything would come up. And Yemen for New York Times came up. Since the NY came up, I'm like, okay, that's the one I'm supposed to read. So Yemen was coming up as the ceasefire is, at best, a first step on the long road to peace, coming up from the New York Times. And it said the country's warring parties have proposed ways to end a devastating war, but yawning gaps remain and making progress will be tricky. And that was April 29th, 2020, so just a couple days ago. So again, I'm not political, so I don't keep up with all the wars that are going on. And so obviously this has been going on since at least 2015. So the wars have to do with religion, and it's very interesting. It's the Sunnis and the Shiites. And so when I went into Wikipedia, en.wikipedia, the city of Sana'a, under the Houthi rebel control since February 2015. So this is a civil war within Yemen. And one of the most underdeveloped countries in the world, they stated, as of 2019, and also in the most need of humanitarian aid, 24.1 million in need. So it started with the Arab uprising, forcing longtime authoritarian president that was in power at that time, Ali Abdullah Salib, who was there, by the way, 33 years, which is the Christ vibration. And he was forced to hand over the power to deputy Hadi, I'm not sure how his name is pronounced, in 2011. So the Houthi movement, formerly Ansar Allah, and I'm sorry if I'm just tearing these names apart, I'm terrible with languages. So the Shiite Muslim minority there were disillusioned with the president in transition and supported the rebels there. And then this alarmed Saudi Arabia, and 8 of the other mostly Sunni Arab states began an air campaign to end Iranian influence in Yemen, with support of the US, UK, and France. So Iran is mostly Shiite, and then whereas the Saudi Arabians are mostly Sunni, which is more supported by the US, right? So at that time, it was only supposed to last a few weeks, and now it's been 4 years. So, and that was referencing, it's really more like 4.5 going on to 5 years. But since then, Hadi, or Hadi, however his name is pronounced, with a temporary government, we're able to set up a temporary government in Aden, or Adin, I'm not sure how they pronounce that. So so there's a lot about Iran coming up here. So as you know, so Iran is the Shiites, Saudi Arabia is more is more Sunni, and Sunni is the bigger population within the Muslim religion. 85% they quote is Sunni as opposed to 15% Shia. And then it's interesting because a lot of what was coming up was Saudi Arabia wasn't really coming up in the codes. Iran was coming up in Yemen, as well as I was getting Iraq because it's smack middle, of the two countries, and plus Iraq is where both of the rivers are mostly. There's a little bit of the Euphrates River in Syria as well, but it's mostly going from Turkey and then in Iraq. So, and the rivers, they go straight through Iraq down to Kuwait, which is that huge oil port, right? So going back to the code line here, there's a show of power in the southeast. So this is relating to Yemen, and the southeast portion of Yemen is where the old presidency actually was able to set up another temporary government. They were able to defeat at least a portion of the country so that they could stay and help people with the coronavirus and all that kind of thing. So there is some kind of bridging here. The southeast night, and I'm getting Yemen may be considered like the night of those countries there, but being a good bridge or gate for the Shah man. And so Shah man is referencing Iran. The Shah was overthrown in October of 79, which is when I actually graduated from high school that year. And then the Shah was allowed in the U.S. for medical treatment to his cancer. So then there was an issue back then. The Islamic militants took the U.S. embassy hostages back then. That was 11/4/79. And that guy was the same energy, Shiite, as the current guy who took over in Yemen. Okay, so there's a parallel here. And back then in 79, of course, the U.S. always refuses hostile negotiations. There were 52 American hostages held for 444 days. So listen to the numbers, 52, which is the Queen of Swords, and then 444, which is a very angelic number. They were held for 444 days. So that was Mohammad Reza back then, the Shah. He was Shah since 1941. So he was in office for a long time. If you want to call it office, he was Shah. And he ended up dying in Egypt in July of 80. So now the government's different. There's a supreme leader of Iran along with a president with the Islamic Revolution. And the current president, his name is Rouhani. And that's since 2013, August 3, 2013. So now they were guiding me back to the eclipse point. So they were both considered Shiite clerics. The guy who's the rebel now for Yemen, and the one who was back then when the human embassy hostages were taken in 79. So on January 6, 2020, which is right after the eclipse on January 5th, I don't remember if it was on both days, but it's around that same period. That's when the Iranian general was killed in Baghdad with a U.S. airstrike. So the replacement to that general, he was a big general, and so Iran was pissed, and the replacement for that general vowed revenge on the U.S., and Tehran has abandoned the remaining limits of its 2015 nuclear deal with the world powers. So Iraq called for expulsion of all American troops from Iraq's soil, but that releasing the Americans and also the Americans leaving Syria made it more risky for atomic bomb issues, and that kind of thing with Iran and Iraq and all that. So it was very interesting. The number 52 came up from 79 because another statement came up here about Trump vowed 52 targets. Like if they tried to create more, nuclear arms, Trump vowed 52 targets would come in fast and hard and attack if Iran attacks American interests over there in the Middle East. Also, the daughter of the general who was killed also vowed and threatened, actually, in a speech there that was quoted in this article, basically threatened U.S. children of people who lived over there. So this is a very interesting theme because there's the daughter of this general and then the new sister in North Korea taking power, all right? There's a theme here of women coming into power who are in very dark influences, okay? And these are being connected to the January 5th eclipse and vengeance, okay? All right, so again, the Tigris River is a direct connect from Turkey to Kuwait, to that port there and all the oil, and the Persian Gulf. So I come back to the code now, the code line. So again, the show of power in the southeast, Batman, which is Turkey, north or at the Y in the river, and dealing with New Yemen as well, which has a direct crossing over into Ethiopia, and Somalia is right there as well. So now the president Rouhani is the president, and R was coming up. Reza was the old Shah that had died. He was the last Shah that I'm aware of. And then Rouhani is the president now. So the R names were coming up along with the G, which had to do with the general who got killed. So there's a show of power, Southeast Batman, which is Turkey, but Turkey's coming up as issues too, because now Turkey made a strike into Syria after the U.S. pulled out. And obviously a lot of powers aren't happy about that either. So there's definitely a connection, a bridging connection that's being talked about here from Turkey to Yemen and from Yemen to Ethiopia. And I was getting New Yemen, so there may actually be a place that ends up being called New Yemen. And actually New Yemen is also an independent weekly English newspaper called New Yemen, a new voice for New Yemen. And that was from newyemen.com. That's their website. And 4/12/20 was the first case of COVID in East Yemen. All right, so they hadn't really been affected with it till then. And so we come back to the sonal oath from the header. Personal growth was actually sonal oath. So some kind of I was getting, battleships and stuff like that what's going on with ships. So I put in that information because in the coder also Sea Department was coming up. So it was definitely confirming there's some kind of underwater attacks might be going on or some kind of control play. And so I looked that up and that was correct. And again, this is mostly referencing the Shah man. So Iran and the Shiites. And actually this general was killed in Iraq in Baghdad, not in Iran. So that's pulling Iraq into play as well. So, and the only major differences that were coming up here between the Sunnis and the Shiites had to do with bloodline. Like the Shiites are more conservative, that you had to be a direct bloodline as opposed to a pious follower would have been okay with the Sunnis. That's what was coming up here as far as being in exalted status in the religion. It also quoted 1400 years ago from NBCnews.com. So the 1400 of the temperance card and that higher love coming up, 14 is also the angels. So also Shas is an Israeli religious political party. So Israel is being pulled in there, of course, which always is there. And then we go back to the Imam's Bridge that was built by one Sunni and one Shiite back then, which was basically, a bridging of the two sides of the religion. And then that bridge, I told you about that. They came up this week where it had been closed temporarily because they thought there was a bomber from one side going to the other, and there was a stampede and somebody got killed. So they closed it down and then reopened it back in 2008. But that's coming up again because these are all bringing up how to bridge between disagreeing parties. The show of power in the southeast, the new Yemen, a good bridge or gate, or a good knight, like the soldier, a knight, and the Sham with Iran, a good bridge with Iran, and the Shiites for personal growth, or sonal oath. And remember, there's several people who have vowed to get back U.S. for this general's death. There's a show, the code line's also coming up as a show of power in the Sea Department, the bridge, Iran, the Shiites, and sonal oath. Then there was another article that came up, and Morocco comes up for me as well, because I told you that Morocco keeps coming up as far as where the Garden of Eden was, and then I got Morocco coming up yesterday as well, because of the olive oil that they make there is supposed to be better for us, and then Turkey being connected to New Yemen as far as the Sea Department, or maybe the location, because they're between Kuwait and getting to the other side of Saudi and the Red Sea. So the nuclear stuff that they're threatening to work on in Iran is, they're called centrifuges. IR7 and IR9 were quoted in the article, centrifuges, and 6 and 8 were actually coming up in my coding. So I looked up, and IR came up yesterday in my coding too. So 6 IR, 8 IR were coming up for me as more significant than the 7 and 9, which may already be out there. So I don't know much about that stuff at all, but that stuff is definitely coming up. And then in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. has a maritime security mission there in the strait to combat Iranian aggression. There was some attacks on an oil ship. So they thought it was the Houthi rebel. The Houthi rebels actually claimed it, right, because they want to be known for the attack. But the governments were saying in Washington that it was Tehran, and Iran disagrees with the Turkey's offense in Syria. So there's like all this mishmash of stuff going on right there, right? Which I guess there always is in the Middle East. But now we pull in Russia, because Russia supports Iran and the Syrian president's support in the 8-year war. And the Syrian-Turkish border issues that they're having. So there's all sorts of possibilities, adjacent possibilities for bridging talks here. And, you know, we just had positive news that there was some possibility to bridge the problems in Yemen right now. So hopefully that will then trickle out with the COVID-19 issues to the other areas who are having issues like this, because everyone in the world is having this one common problem. So some information was coming up on greatcharlie.com as well. I think that had to do with the centrifuges. Also, the U.S. Institute of Peace came up, and their YouTubes, and what they're doing over there. I think they were coming up in Ethiopia and the Red Sea, as far as Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and Yemen and Ethiopia. So I was getting those two connections with the Gulf of Aden or Aden, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, and then the Arabian Sea right there, all that area where the Persian Gulf is. And then there's 8, the number 8 was coming up as the Sunni Arab states that come together and meet. And then again, I was getting the 7 and the 8, the 7 being the key to the 8. So the 8 was this coming up as the Sunni Arab states as opposed to the Shiite states, and 7 being the key. So again, this 7 centrifuge was coming up, so hopefully that's not the key. But there was when I looked up the IR6, because I only saw IR7 and 8, Some other stuff was coming up with the IR6, which was a green card for people who had been married already who got divorced in order to keep their green card in the U.S. So that's a code for the governmental paperwork that you would need to do if you wanted to stay in the country after a divorce and you weren't already, a U.S. citizen during the marriage. And so going back to the code line, New Yemi, Southeast, show of power, the C department is a good bridge regarding the Iran Shiites and their sonal oath. So now I want to get into the read. So if you guys have if anything's coming up for you guys that makes sense for you and bridging all that information I just presented, please do so in the comments. I know it was a little bit random now, but I don't usually get into politics, but it was really specific about coming up. So I don't know if there's going to be another. I know now the U.S. already has a mission there in the Strait, so obviously there's other powers now underwater at these waters. So if there's anything you're getting in a psychic way, bring it up and put it in the comments if you feel the urge to do that. And we're going to get right into the read now. It's the Wheel of Fortune we start out with, which is reversed at 1249. And my mail was 21117. It keeps piling up and piling up. One upon the other, just like my messages. They build upon each other. So there's another message right there. We have the Nine of Pentacles reversed, the Ascension upright, and the Page of Wands reversed below that top underlying energy there of the Wheel of Fortune, the Great Wheel. So in this downturn, slowdown, and twist of fate that everyone's going through in the world, after the powerlessness of the world, frustrated and uninspired, you may be tempted to foolish acts or immature desperation, which was coming up again in those negative energies of hostilities. I was just looking for that card. So the Ten of Cups is coming up upright here as the happy family or happy ending. It can represent emotional fulfillment as well, with the Knight of Wands rushing in or going back, and then the Russians were coming up here. Safely held between loving family and loving friends, and this can represent countries as well. The Rainbow Bridge with more action and or traffic from twins and kids, with clarity about frustrations, inability to get aroused, creative, and or with clarity about frustration and the inability to get aroused, to be creative or dealing with sexual blocks as well, to receiving that big love and finding peace with twins and or kids. And so when the twins and kids come up very similarly, because it's that same energy of strong connection of love, that unconditional love that people usually only have for their children. The twins have it with each other as well. Families clamp down as youthful energies get busy physically with passion and love from the past to find peace, and love between old friends and loving connections, kids, siblings, and just old friends, as well as your twins. Okay, so rushing in again, so the Russians were coming up here in the beginning here with news, message, announcement to Scrooge, who's holding on tight in uncomfortable energies, all right? And that can represent countries like Iraq, who's in the middle of all this, right? And have all the rivers, which is a major throughway. It's a point of power for Iraq. So holding on tight in uncomfortable energies of the Ten of Pentacles, which are the wealthy countries and families, businesses, legacies, communities, bridging to the twins and kids with the Empress reversed. And that can represent the mother lode being upset, right? So Gaia can also be represented as the Empress, but she is reversed in this read. So of course, Gaia is not going to be happy if people are setting off bombs in their waterways or, flooding the oceans with oil spills because somebody attacked an oil ship. So the Empress reverse could be someone who's ill or disabled, like a parent that you're taking care of, but just in general, mother blocks, or a mean woman or boss refusing to bend or to change, right? That can be old prejudices of the older generation as well. The wealth of twins or kids it's an ill or disabled mother blocks to wealth of twins or kids, and wealth can be anything from abundance and happiness to actual money, or them bridging the gap. Or the patriarch of the family was the bridge to the dogs and the rest of the family, and now the patriarch may be gone, maybe someone passed away recently, and the Empress reversed no longer has a bridge between herself and the family. Maybe she was kind of a Debbie Downer, and the husband was always the talker and the one who kept in touch with everybody. So she no longer has that bridge to the rest of the family, or maybe there's just some dissension in the ranks with her, okay? A lot of water under the bridge with her, perhaps, or she fell down steps, or fell on a bridge, or sliding down the banister. Maybe a kid sliding down the banister ran into a grandparent and knocked them over and hurt them. Obviously not purposely. But yeah, some weird energies were coming here about, and this has to do with big companies and universities, right, that have a lot of money and power, and bridging with them again, and referencing even just people in the family who are the ones who have the wealth and power in your family specifically, and connections to wealth and also medicine and getting medical care because of the COVID-19 coming up. Or people looking at you, especially twins, pulling out of heavy energy situations, and other people judging you for having burned perfectly good bridges, as they may call them, with families, connections, and old friends who have hurt you in the past. And people may not understand why you have pulled away from so many people. So heads of big companies, universities, companies, things like that, may be coming up, or someone's mother died at a big hospital, or bridges were built, and we're supposed to be called to bring up those wounds because just the building of those bridges have killed many people or caused their deaths in the past. So there's a big wound there regarding building bridges. So some people may not want to build bridges because they lost family members actually building bridges. And Spirit's connecting with me big time right there. 115 is the Magician and the 15 of the Devil. All right, so a lot of people may have felt, and not just family members dying building the physical bridge, but people may have felt they got burned too many times before trying to build bridges with others and then got screwed by doing so. So 116 is the Magician, and then the 16 of the Tower. Children finding peace without parents or wealth of family, and these could be grown children, like detaching from parents or anyone, whether it's wealth or another type of control, anyone who has conditions to their relationship with you, right? And a lot of times with parents, it has to do with them controlling the money. So they're the patriarch or the matriarch of the family. And as long as you do what they say or do it their way, they're willing to do nice things for you or help you out financially, that kind of thing. So we're being called to detach from those attachments, the conditions of love. So the wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town were coming up. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. All right, so the wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town. So it's taking us back to being little kids again. Start over and learn from scratch, right? We're redoing the templates. We're tearing everything down. All the old paradigms coming down for rebuilds, all the bridges, right? London bridges falling down, all the bridges being taken down to be rebuilt the right way. The Empress takes a turn for the worse, perhaps, allowing forward movement to leave the gate and close it behind you. The King of Wands is out looking at the Fool, who's free to leap in the sunshine, happy and free, coming clean, getting clean, in order to move on and help others. The Fool, perhaps with a loyal friend or white pup. And the pitter-patter of sneaky feet upstairs, running to catch up to go out for a walk. So it's remembering not just your pets who have been loyal and faithful to you, but those best friends who have always stood by your side, even when they didn't agree with you, or just were always excited when you called. Yeah, no matter what happened between you, they never let those things stand between you as far as your connection and your friendship. Right? Whereas a lot of other people would hold grudges, or when you call, they don't really sound very happy to hear from you. Like, is that really the energy that you want in your energy? So let go of control issues. And then beneath that was trust, which is all about having faith. Let go of the control and just allow things to happen naturally. Detoxing the King of Wands, affections to connections and not expressing feelings. Again, detoxing the King of Wands. He's detoxing his affections with others to certain connections and not expressing feelings or energetic exchange, or holding back their desires and starting over in love, or in heated exchanges perhaps they want to have at the gate, or maybe had a heated exchange at the gate, or it could be a terrible exchange rate for somebody also coming up here. Somebody might be dumping old plants that marked another person's territory in their home or business. And I was getting a claw too. Maybe someone had some kind of decapitated claw that they were keeping, and so that may be getting rid of. So it's like someone's leaving or got kicked out, and someone's very happy to get rid of those things, their stuff. So the clue, the clue, so there might be a clue as well with the claw, but maybe there's something in the claw. Maybe somebody hid something in the claw. So someone has the claw, look inside of it before you throw it away. So, and I was getting the person who does have the claw, who's happy to get rid of it, is saying, ew, like it's so gross, the claw. Dumping plants that marked their territory and a claw, ew. So it could be exchange rates as well that are ooey. Someone with a hump or scoliosis may be very self-conscious about it, or their right arm with tennis elbow, perhaps a DNA trait in the family, or monkey-like traits, right? Someone who likes to hang out in the trees or has lots of hair, or a lot of near misses, or falling out of trees, or shunned from the family, falling too far from the tree, no longer accepted, showing someone the door and removing the scissors, the magnet, and coins on top of the stone pillar, taking their stuff with them and happy to see it go, along with sweet treats and tweets, letting go of the fruits that they didn't like, and birds perhaps, and stinky big feet, but keeping the dessert and the chocolates. So someone really likes chocolate here. And perhaps also still keeping a loving prayer time for yourself in a soulmate connection. Follow your dreams comes up for the masculine, which is 85, which is the reflection of 58, which is the 4 of swords, your 5D connection. So for me, the 85 and following your dreams has to do with grounding that 5D connection into the 3D physical union. So health comes up beneath that, which is 71, the 3 of Pentacles, the co-creation or the workplace, and feeling trapped or all tied up, following an old dream, perhaps health-related and no longer fun, the injustice in a telepathic connection or a heart connection, and the Page of Swords reversed with negative self-talk, spying, rumors, and immature messages or comments, and feeling abandoned, feeling destitute, feeling injured or dealing with illnesses, and feeling just left behind in general. Depression or a need to heal. The King of Cups reversed is implementing a plan. There may be a fern hanging down. Fern may be, it's been coming up a lot recently, so that may be something specific to someone out there. But there's a fern hanging down, or it could be somebody's name as well. Fern hanging down or tickling their feet. Barbershop closed, or nuts and bolts of the business connections or barbershop quartet. Or poor Saturn placement, sad sack, sad song. Oh, solo mio is coming up, making new plans, Stan. Fell from the family tree, the nuts, or sowing wild oats, or oatmeals only, for an old person perhaps. Grass and tearing up or tearing up. Grass and tearing up about something. About Purim was coming up, which this year was March 9th to 10th, but I was getting a Purim as well from 2016 or 17, which in 2016 was March 23rd to 24th. So that was coming up for somebody as well. When a psychic connection perhaps was made, and then the energies coming up here were Libra reversed, Aquarius reversed, with immature conversation or ties feeling left out in the cold at 146, which is the Magician and the 6 of Cups, the children in the garden. So implementing a new plan in the downturn with the Empress reversed, offering help to start over in love and follow their dreams. The recent past is the 8 of Swords upright, feeling imprisoned and or anxious, trapped, the King of Pentacles upright and the King of Swords upright. So we have earth signs and air signs here, holding back an announcement or a response to a wake-up call. So they may be not responding to a wake-up call, not heeding the call to action. of exposure, sunshine, happiness, or just kids, or a Leo, but the sun is upright here. Or synchronicities, options, choices, dreams about work, co-creation, or working from home with the virus still on attack out there. So people may be reorganizing how they work, saying, well, if this is going to last much longer, we have to figure out a way to work from home. Illness, insecurities, a need for tools to cope with and deal with manipulations, sudden events, epiphanies, and reaping rewards of the state of emergency and breakdowns. The foundation here is the moon upright, the nighttime, and the full moon that's approaching on May 7th, 2020. The Page of Wands is reversed, frustrated, perhaps having temper tantrums. Somebody might be making pies as well, because pie's coming up. And the Page of Cups reversed may be whiny and complaining or crying on the journey at night or towards the full moon, all right? The Page of Wands as the masculine energy, in both coming up as frustrations, temper tantrums, and the Page of Cups reverse comes up as the feminine energy of that, the whiny, complaining, or crying on the journey at night or towards the full moon. Jealousies of the Page of Cups reversed of those reaping rewards on the journey, so that could be the feminine energy, whether it's in the masculine or the feminine, coming up as being more upset, and crying about those kind of things, or struggling with manifestations and then feeling defeated right now. There could be some of that coming up. The central energy here is the star upright. Fame, light, healer, healing, dreams come true. The Page of Pentacles student or earth child, so Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, or an opportunity or an invitation to detox uncomfortable energies of the Knight of Swords rushing in with the truth. Coming clean or getting clean, or disinfecting the house. That may be causing conflicts or fights about people disagreeing about how to disinfect things, or how much it has to be done, or having a competition with kids to get the work done, to make it a play thing instead of, a task, or a pay thing where you pay your kids to do it, or playing on others' insecurities to build up yourself as the star. That was also coming up. Pushing down others to build yourself up. Perhaps Libra reversed, Cancer upright, Aquarius upright, Capricorn reversed, Virgo reversed, Gemini reversed, Leo upright, or Aquarius upright, perhaps a Sagittarius upright as well here. The challenge being the King of Wands shaman, or Middle Eastern or East Indian energies here, as the King of Swords in separation, heartbreak, or surgery, or is a surgeon, or hurt their left eye, could be eye surgery as well coming up here. The wounded warrior defended themselves to others, perhaps got in a fight. When all hell broke loose, they popped their top, their crown, or their cover, hanging out, suffering in silence, or hung out to dry, or kicked out of the house. But either way, that looks like there could have been literally physical fights for some people. The Ten of Pentacles, family, business, legacy, or community, or a huge company, or could be government as well. There's a split, divide, lies, and cutting through the BS, a need for clarity here to get clear on how to disinfect things. All right, so that's on all levels, whether it's the home or a big business or the country, and who's going to make these decisions. The Hermit's reverse, coming out to connect, not caring what the Ten of Pentacles, right, or the big authorities say, what they say or think. So the individual is saying, I'm not going to listen to what they tell me. I know what's good for me. Or the fight about disinfecting practices, those with money versus those without, and how it affects them and their safety. Broken, broke down, up or through, or broke back mountain, a new love, a big love at work, and an impatient Sagittarius or fallen angel who's not patient. Cancer, Virgo, new love, and a split or divide, getting clean at work, family or business, legacy, or community chest, which yesterday came up as somebody raiding that community chest. So be careful with your people who are coming in to clean or disinfect. That may be an issue. 214 comes up here, which is Valentine's Day. It's also the High Priestess and the Temperance card again, the angels. The wounded warrior, Sagittarius or Leo, impatient here. So the fire energies were all upright. So the fire energies in essence were good, but this fire energy is a wounded warrior. So they've been fighting a long time. The Sagittarius or Leo is impatient to expose all. And perhaps for somebody suddenly does expose all. with the Knight of Wands rushing in suddenly, and there's another Russian connection, rushing in suddenly with the King of Pentacles announcing that they're leaving work. The Queen of Wands reversed, looking the other way, as usual in this deck, with a Gemini, Virgo, or Aries, or Taurus in her chart, the Queen of Wands reversed. She's coming up as fire, but also could be Gemini or Virgo, and then also Aries and Taurus could be in their chart, or their people around her in a divorce, a break in contract, or promise, and or spirituality, alternative or out-of-the-box thinking. The Divine Masculine defensive end, or has a bodyguard to fend off the crowds, protecting the Hermit in detox, or Virgo and Capricorn connection. Now is the Eight of Cups reversed, uncomfortable energies, unable to escape at the moment, and the Queen of Cups reversed is on a quest as the Knight of Pentacles is praying the dark birds go away in a split and implementing a new plan. At 2:21, some sweet birds were started expressing themselves outside. They were so cute. That's with 2:21 to 2:22, and room 222 is the guidance counselors. So the dark High Priestess reversed without the keys. So could be a false psychic or that kind of energy, or just someone who tries to manipulate using their feminine wiles. And she often comes up as a realtor, that type of person with the keys. But this is someone who does not have the keys. So it could be someone who's a false psychic type person, or a secret is out about grieving. And the Knight of Pentacles praying that the High Priestess reversed comes together, or perhaps changes their perspective, but they could be grieving a death, or just the dark night, or a transition to perform juggling act or balance daily duties, to drop their burdens and responsibilities, perhaps confess in a twist of fate, dumping faceless bodies, feminine bodies, or dumping burdens on these women in general. So here comes up generalizations about women and how the masculine perceives all women. All women are this, or all women do this, or are that. The dark night raising the bar and dumping the rest. So this is the masculine no longer putting up with those who really aren't for his highest good. Not to be nice to everybody, because then they'll just draw in more energy they don't really want around. Finding peace in the downturn with a secret out about a new love and dumped on at work. The Ten of Cups, family or emotional energies of being fulfilled, is here, but it could be a happy ending, but there's an impatient fire sign, fire, Sagittarius or Leo especially, offering scraps, this Ten of Cups family, to him or to this fire energy, and then sending him on a mission or neighborhood watch, the world, completion or coming full circle, or to go see the sealed divine feminine, broken and powerless. And this was coming out as the family sending the divine masculine out to deal with the pandemic out in the world or out in the neighborhood, to make him be the one, as usual, to run the errands, to go get things, right, when they don't have something, but yet they're only offering scraps in return. Somebody could be sending them off to the divine feminine to connect with them, to tell them to go away, that kind of stuff. But or a divine masculine may see their divine feminine as feeling broken or powerless in this state of emergency, perhaps worried about them being drained financially, or just powerless, to feeling abandoned while they're together and connected with perhaps an olive or blueberry branch permanently extended between them, right? Your cord between twins, from twisted pillar to twisted pillar in a twist of fate. The Page of Wands reversed could be having temper tantrums or just frustrated, with the Page of Swords upright spreading the word about the powerless and the broken by this situation, and their words taken or covered up. So somebody's messages or words may be taken and used for somebody else's profit, or were hidden by this Hierophant energy, patriarchy, Taurus, religion, establishment, institution, or just the social norm. So somebody in power either stealing messages, stealing ideas, or covering it up and not letting that information get to the divine masculine. And that's regarding the Hierophant and the King of Cups. Or Taurus and King of Cups are spreading their own word to render others powerless against them. those acting or speaking on behalf of the community, causing frustrations of the Page of Wands reversed, and Libra upright, or justice or divorce, and no longer avoiding the dance, no longer pretending to be with the Queen of Wands reversed for the sake of how it looks. Soon as the Two of Wands upright, a choice of path, twin flames, suffering in silence at night, and hanging out to see new perspectives or get epiphanies. The Queen of Pentacles reversed is holding back their desires in a 5D connection, offering new life, time, money, and energy in order to be strong and be present, or offering the gold coin, the unity consciousness, the gift of the moment, and not working or overworking or blocked by dark or lead forces or mold perhaps too, frustrations and no growth, enabling, surprisingly, peace to be found in it. At 241, which is the High Priestess and the Ace of Cups, which this read ends on the Ace of Cups overflowing with love. So amongst all of these negative energies, people may be surprised to find they may actually find peace in all this, right, from going within. So instead of expressing energetic exchange or a negative exchange in arguments or holding back your feelings, meditating for peace. There could be blocked, the masculine could be worried about the Queen of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed coming together and having a fight. But also it's about allowing the masculine self to receive, calming his own ego to be more present without working so hard, or feeling frustrated and blocked in resistance, learning not to resist by meditating. He's coming up as seeing himself as strong. He's got the Strength card here. Strength, ego, or Leo could be energies in his field. And the Queen of Swords reversed, not patient angel, or seeing himself as the Sagittarius reversed. This is on him. He's seeing himself as strong, holding up all these other energies. We have the Queen of Swords reversed, who's not patient, not a patient angel, or is a Sagittarius reversed, Aquarius, and he's being strong with verbally abusive women in his life, or people giving him the silent treatment, or just being bitchy, or just negative in general. And then Sagittarius reversed, Aquarius could be a star, right? Or just could be someone who loves to shine their light, or could be arrogant because they're coming up as impatient. Also could be healed or a healer. And then the Empress reverse coming up, holding on to justice, divorce, and or Libra, clinging energies. So one was coming up as one negative energy and the other coming up with a different kind of negative energy. The Empress reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed, who could be a mother and daughter team. One could be saving impatiently and justice for the star, dreams of divorce or justice, or Libra star, or Aquarius seeks justice, cutting out those not patient with healing or healer of dreams in downturn or twist of fate that we're all going through, and also, though, of the twist of fate of the lovers involved here. The Emperor is coming up as the lover here. He's upright. But there's a disconnect between the Emperor and the Empress, who's reversed here, but he's also connected to the Queen of Swords reversed, which can be the daughter in this situation, or can represent the masculine with two women and doesn't know how to choose between them. So the Emperor, a great affection between the Emperor and the Empress reversed, and the Emperor and the Queen of Swords reversed, or the Emperor with Libra and Aquarius with Sagittarius reversed. One could be impatient and verbally abusive, or giving him the silent treatment all the time, and the other, or the Empress reversed, holds on, or maybe a hoarder and coming from a lack mentality. Or it just requires great strength for the masculine to deal with their partner and their parents controlling the situation, or perhaps living in his space and feeling left out of the equation because they all get each other, but he's not part of their actual immediate family, their tribe, and he may not see things the same way they do and may feel very left out. So retreat comes up, heart-to-heart conversations, and new love for the masculine. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Or new love with Libra or Gemini, or Libra lover and Gemini has been turned around. Emperor with too much air around him, stirring up their fire energy. Or Taurus reversed holding on, and Aquarius being a biatch, or impatient. The Emperor and Justice or Judge, or Aries and Libra, being the strength in the situation at 257, which is the High Priestess, and the Three of Swords, which is separation. Around the Divine Masculine, or how he's seen, is the Knight of Pentacles, perhaps proposing a separation with the Queen of Wands reversed, choosing a new path, him choosing a new path, and the Queen of Wands reversed very dissatisfied with the path chosen. The challenge being, or the block that the masculine needs to clear, is reflection reversed, which means either they're not reflecting, or they're over-isolating, or now coming out of over-isolation, feeling abandoned, or receiving those left out and sharing with them again. So those who have been away from work may be worried about going back to work and having the people return feeling like they had abandoned them, that they weren't there for them in this situation. Perhaps not feeling up to it mentally while ascending. So the Divine Masculine may not feel up to returning to work because he's ascending and he's realizing he can't perform the way he used to perform. So personal growth comes up here, and again, sonal oath. However that relates to you, take it as the message comes to you. And that can even be the oath in the womb between twins, right? The oath between twins, or the oath of a son who feels he owes his mother, right? The Jewish mother's guilt. The Page of Cups reversed, frustrated, keeping feelings to self, not permitted to open his mouth. So it looks like the Page of Cups reversed is being stifled or muzzled, right? So they're not allowed, they want to express their feelings, but they're not allowed for some reason. But now I think they're breaking past that. So in addition to personal growth, even more so for the masculine here, is spirituality and love partnership. New love, self-love, and spiritual love overflowing at the end here, unable to keep it in. Like no longer can keep in this overflowing of love that they want to give to everybody. Not working, hanging in limbo, insecure, but the worst is over, of feeling perhaps like a crazy person, or dealing with a crazy person who may be your parent losing their mind. So it can be dementia or Alzheimer's kicking in. And then the Queen of Wands reversed Taurus, and the King of Pentacles upright could be a Libra, Sagittarius, or Scorpio, both perhaps with Virgo or Gemini, and the Knight of Wands starting over in love. Impatient Sagittarius wanting to alchemize, held up in a prison, or their hands are just tied at 308, which is the Empress and the Strength card. So backpedaling, the Empress reversed at night, the Divine Masculine being strong, or could be a Leo energy in his energy, proposing prison. And we have Libra reversed, Taurus reversed, Cancer upright, and Leo upright here. Backpedaling, the Empress reversed at night, the Divine Masculine strong, proposing prison, or proposing restrictions, or just anxious about a star, their dreams, a healer, or being a healer and going back to work, perhaps feeling like they're putting their family at risk. So someone may be anxious about going back to work who is a healer. Aquarius could be there too. And Aquarius could be the one who doesn't want to go back to work because they don't want to get sick. The challenge being the King of Wands shaman's path, or the twin flame path, with the Hermit reversed, or Virgo, in uncomfortable energies of this new love, an outpouring of love, and the Knight of Wands being impatient, or they could be an inpatient as well in the hospital. But they're both, it's upright. The Knight of Wands is upright, and so the Temperance is not. Temperance is reversed. So there could be two different Sagittarius energies. There could be like the big Sag and little Sag definitely came up here. The little Sag is good. The big Sag may be impatient or losing their temper, or could be sick. So powerless and or financial drains, dependence or kids, and the world frustrated in the downturn twist of fate of prison and anxieties, fears, and implementing a plan at night or by the full moon to heal and shine brightly and dream, challenged by the King of Wands shaman, or that 70s deal, and uncomfortable being the focus of attention. Strong Bengal tiger, that white tiger bursting through the ring of fire, as the twin flames are in love, and the Knight of Pentacles proposing coming out of over-isolation, or perhaps proposing over-isolation if the twins are coming together in an outpouring of love, as the Knight of Wands is not patient. The center energy here is the star. Music comes up with that, shining your light, talking, and clearing as well. And we end up here at the Ace of Cups upright with an outpouring of emotions and love, being love perpetually. Libra reverse, Cancer upright, and Aquarius upright in uncomfortable energies, challenged by that King of Wands, who could be a Leo or Sagittarius, and blocked by the Virgo reversed energies in an outpouring of love. With Sagittarius, or big Sagittarius is impatient, while little Sagittarius is raring to go. So that is the read for you guys, and I will pull the energy cards again to see what comes up now. And my rocks keep falling down here. Sorry about that. So I'm going to ask a political question too, just if there's anything that can come up. So, well, first let's just see, what are the energies now that you want us to focus on that came out of the read? I want to clear again too, guys. Take a deep breath. All right. So now what do you want us to focus on? What's important now? Well, first thing that came out was man holding a coin. Well, that's a different energy from before we started the read. 43 is the Three of Cups coming together with the man holding a coin. All right, guys, this is for you twins. That means the Three of Cups upright means we're allowed to come together. So hopefully that's a good sign as we clear. See if we do more clearing with the white light, right? Literally sterilizing within our own meditations. We're helping to clear the way to open those doors so we can be free again. So the door to spirit, 32, is the journey, the Six of Wands, right? The good news coming in. And this is beautiful. This is like, you know, a funny bird character in a cartoon, you know, like opening the door and saying, I'm here, I'm here. It's like, I'm late for a very important date. And that's so funny. That's the message that just came through. But in this bird character, which is like a thoth type thing. That's very funny. Thoth is connecting with me. That's really funny. There's also splatter off on the front door, which is so funny because I was just reading. I've written 9 chapters of a book, and something that came up in my life in writing was when I was in my old house when I was little. I don't know, I was around 6 years old or so. I put wacky stickers all over the front door. I don't know if all of you know what wacky stickers are, but they were around when I was little. And after I put them all over the front door, I realized, oh my God, that might not be a good idea. I might get in a lot of trouble. And this is reminding me of that, putting the wacky stickers all over the door. So pretty funny. This card also wants to be seen, 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. So there he is. That white light's coming through at the Divine Masculine's throat. That's the 39 of the Knight of Cups, coming to offer love. And that's like the bugle as well of the announcement. Somebody could be taking down their announcements and doing it in person. Ah, what a nice message. Then we also have the Temple Path. All right, 12 is the Hangman, the wise man. All right, so the word imam, the bridge of the wise man, and also, what was the other word? I can't remember now. Oh, also TE, because that's considered the moral wise man, the human, as opposed to TI, which is source, the God energy. So the Temple Path, and again, this always comes up as the Thomas Kincaid painting, the Garden of Prayer. And in the painting, there's the path over here, and you can actually see Jesus walking on the path. It's a really cool painting. All right. And a lot of people, again, Thomas Kincaid may be coming up because people judge him for being a color by number painter. But anyone who can appreciate color can appreciate his painting. And who's anyone to judge someone else for their artwork? And maybe Thomas is coming through. But yeah, nobody should judge anyone else for their artwork. If it brings another person enjoyment into their life, who is anyone else to say? Sorry, it's getting me a little aggravated there. Right? There's something for everyone. So no one should judge unless they're asking for their work to be judged by like a panel of critics or something, and then that's their choice. But if they're not asking for your judgment, don't give it. All right, so these are all the energies coming through. This was the underlying energy, and then actually they came through this way. Okay. So the Temple Path, of the wise hangman. So that's Jesus being present to y'all in the underlying energy right there. Okay. And remember, he's saying, I was a Jew. Don't forget that too. And then we have the man holding a coin of the 43 and coming together, the 32 of the journey, and still continuing to sterilize and transmute those energies with the white light, to really purify. That's the word I'm getting at. To really keep purifying things. And as we do, you see that light coming through the Divine Masculine's throat so that he can speak up for himself and offer love. It's such a beautiful message. Oh, and look what's under the underlying energy of the temple path is the healer of the ages. All right, so we had this on top, and then this, and that's the 51 of the King of Swords. All right, so of course your Divine Masculine, they're all going to have different personalities, but all on that temple path. So we have that energy. I want you to see all the there's 3 different energies here of masculines. We have the man holding the coin, the 5th chakra man, and then we have the healer of the ages, which can be all of his personalities, or just one can represent your masculine more than another. All right. So how do you like that? It's all gold and white. Look at that. He may still have a little bit of armor on, but he's the one speaking. This one's speaking from his heart and his head. He doesn't even have to say a word. He's just opening his arms. And this one may be speaking more with his money a little bit there, right? And being all sexy, right? So that's the energy coming up for you guys. I like that. I'm going to give you a Kipper card too. All right. There you go, the pathway. And your main man. Pretty funny. The underlying energy is the bad health, all right? So that's just referencing the virus. That could be a parent as well. There could be a father involved, because that's been coming up in the read, that there may be a father who's ill or weak. And there may be a wealthy man there, or the son may be a wealthy man. All right, so there's the older man. It could be a disconnect between a parent as well. This could also be getting financial or legal advice regarding someone who's ill. It's so funny because I just watched a movie last night where the guy had a nurse's aide come to his house, and then he passed away, and part of the movie was he wasn't ill or anything, and he just died all of a sudden. So it gets into more stuff. But anyway, there was the stuff about the will, and the house was left to the girl, that kind of stuff. So that stuff is coming up here as well. So be aware of that too. Some of the movies you watch, you're gonna naturally pick that movie because that topic of that movie is coming up in the energies. So just be aware of that, because that's definitely been coming up. Just trying to think if there's a good deck. Let me pull I'm going to pull from the Metatron deck, see if anything comes up about the Middle East and why I was getting that information. Metatron, is there a reason that information came up about any of those countries? I don't know how you might relay to me a specific country that you want us to be aware of. But I don't think that really matters, because you usually find a way to tell me when there's something you want me to know. So Metatron, is there a message about the Middle East that you want us to be aware of? Blessings and thanks. Abundant universe, 47. Well, isn't that a nice message? 47 is the 7 of Cups. It could also be just tell yourself, right, how to be in such gratitude for what you have, that you don't have to deal with what they're dealing with right now. And we have the blue of Madonna and mothering. I'm just getting the black Madonna as well again. The Madonna and the mothering, and the Spirit's connecting with me, is very much the third eye with the indigo energy. And 29 is the 3 of Wands, of being present to the moment. Hold on, this is still going. The wake-up call, listen and take notes, making me want to cry right now. Wake-up call to have gratitude, really, for what you have. And Metatron Rainbow Bridge. There we go, around the world. The rainbow around the world is always open So there's the bridges that we're, and still making me want to cry. 27 is the Ace of Wands, which is that new passion. So I'm going to put these all together again because there's, all right, this is the last card. Yeah, they're going to keep coming. I'm not going to put this out, but I just want you to show it because it was loose here. So the bee pollinating the flowers, joy and happiness, right? So you being that avenue or that bridge to the joy and happiness by being that yellow, happy spirit, right? That bumblebee, just happily carrying too much weight, right? The bumblebee. The underlying energy is the inner child, hear and know me. So stay connected within. And again, the womb was coming up, the ultrasound womb, right? So there was a reference to sonal growth. So the growth of your inner child, whether it can relate to a pregnancy, but that's not really the full meaning of it. The full meaning is to stay connected with your inner child and watch your child grow up inside. Hear and know me. Hear and know me, brother. I think that was from A Christmas Carol. Know me better, man. You have to understand, my son must have a photographic memory because he knows like every word from every Muppet movie ever made, right? But we used to watch those movies all the time when he was little. So know me better, man, which is about, I think that was the Ghost of Christmas Present. So it's all about being present there and Spirit's connecting with me. I'm really getting that beautiful high vibration energy, okay? All right, see, the women have to cover their faces. And her, you notice her face isn't covered. The rest of her is still covered, but there may be some improvements in the way women are treated here, right? They don't have to cover their face all the time. All right, the food is abundant. Wake up call, listen and take note. 11 is justice, and then the rainbow bridge of Metatron. So let me just sit on these for a second. It's a chance not only to teach your children, but your inner child about what it is to receive, to receive, to receive, to receive the abundance of having beautiful foods displayed in your home, to have the abundance of being able to nurture yourself and rock yourself when no one else is around to do it, and to also receive from your higher self that they're always there. The Madonna and mothering is within you and within your higher self. The blue, the third eye, is your mother. And then here is about, you know, how much joy you get from playing music or just doing something you enjoy. But to not only play, but to listen and take note. So this is very much about music here. And the justice of it. Justice is truth and balance on angels' wings. Listen and take note. So it's like listen to the beating of your heart. Listen to the voices who want to talk to you. It's just allowing everything, allowing yourself to be loved, allowing yourself to be heard, allowing yourself to hear others that aren't naturally heard. And I love this too, because you see the wings on this one here, listening and taking note. That is literally the magnification of their wing as they take flight, right, around the world. Around the world in 80 days is coming up. And that this bridge is, Metatron's bridge is always open. And Metatron for me always comes up as he's been watching over the divine masculines. But he's also like the manager for the twins overall with Jesus, you know. That his bridge is always open. You don't need to build the bridge because there's always one there. And I was just getting too, when you actually play music, because I was playing yesterday, it's such a meditation when you play. So you get such joy from playing music, even when you're by yourself. And I'm getting that literally it opens up the gates to the rainbow when you play. Like I'm getting this energy, this rainbow, like just beneath their wing right here. So as they're playing, the rainbow lifts them and takes them around the world, right? And to the outer limits. The bridge is always open. Listen and take note. Madonna and mothering. And this is so much, you know, about the Arab nations, right? Because she's covered. And so that's the message they just wanted us to get about, especially about women and how they're treated. And that they deserve the abundance that everyone else deserves as well. But they also have learned prayer at an early age. So something we can learn from each other, right? And have those who found the music within, even amidst very destructive or horrifying circumstances, still being able to find the abundance within. Well, that was a really good message. I don't want to keep you anymore. It's getting long, but I do want to show you the cards. All right. The underlying energies there is the Great Wheel. The recent past is the Eight of Orbs, which is Swords. The foundation here is the Moon or Luna. Okay. The stars, the central energy there, with the challenge being the King of Wands. The other underlying energies here, and then the crowning energies is the Eight of Cups reversed, or Eight of Chalices in this deck. The 4D bridge going across takes us to the two flames upright, and the masculine seeing himself as strength. And around him, or how he is seen, is the Knight of Crystals upright as well. And the blocks being reflection reverse. So when you aren't reflecting, that could be a block for the masculine. Or over isolating. And then coming up here, you see all the purple and blue. So it's about the masculine speaking their truth and using their third eye. And then we end up on the Knight of Wands with the Temperance card reversed above that. And then you see that the prisoner on the Follow Your Dreams and the underlying energies. So that's the underlying energies going away, but feeling trapped because of the current circumstances and just feeling like your hands are tied, anxieties and fears, that kind of things that you have no way of getting out of the situation. And the underlying energies there with the tealish colors, and then the orange coming up there with the sacral energies. Okay, so make sure, it was just 2, 3, 4, shut the door. Yeah, shut the doors coming up in the cards earlier. So make sure you drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature. Oh, 2244. Rise and be love, you guys. Take care.